Humans die easily to the killing blow.
That's the good stuff. Hello, hello. Not exactly something I had planned today, but I have just been kind of sitting around, relaxing. But some days, man, when I try to relax, I'm just not able to. I get this thing where I'll get really antsy. Be like, I really don't want to just sit here. I want to do something. So I figured what I would do is I would sit around with you guys and sip on something delicious and just chat about stuff. So, there's a couple people in here so far. I see Leo and Servant in the chat. Hopefully more will show up as we go along. But if not, it's okay. I understand that there's a lot of people streaming right now. And for those of you, the few that are here, especially because I kind of did this on, short notice, and you chose me to watch me, thank you. Anyway, so, what to chat about? It's been an interesting year. I think that's sort of like where my head is at right now. I'm in my sort of like reflecting on the year phase, where I'm just trying to think of like, all right, what all happened this year? And what is what's been going on, So one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go through here and look. Okay, so where did we start off with content-wise in 2024? Actually, you know what? Yeah. It's been interesting to look back at it. So, looking through my my release history of stuff that I've done over the last year, I'm kind of surprised at like what I've managed to get done. But the other thing that kind of surprised me, um, during the course of the year, and I think this is what makes this year better than last year, is like aside from like numerical metrics, I have not had to deal with any major drama whatsoever this year. Like, I'm downright shocked when I think about it. Because I was sitting around and I'm like, there were a couple bits of like dramatic stuff that happened. And I didn't realize that they were so long ago. You know? Like, for some reason, I had thought in my brain that, like, the white womaning and all that shit had happened, like, early this year. And no, it was, like, middle of last year. And I thought to myself, I'm like, has it really been a year, like, a whole year of no drama whatsoever? Like, I'm kind of shocked when I think about it, you know? I had a whole year of just productiveness, you know? Or really, I should say, just kind of making the most out of a rough situation, you know? I'll move my microphone real quick. I'm gonna just kind of sit back and while I yap. But it's so weird to me. You know? Like, there hasn't been a whole lot of BS that I've had to deal with. In fact, now that I think about it, like most of the biggest events of the year have been pretty positive. You know, there's been some rough spots. Like this year was kind of a personal roller coaster for me, which I'm not going to get into why, but what I will say is this: it's not, none of it was because of the internet, like at all, and that's crazy to me. You know. What's even more interesting is, like, at a point, I think that, like, people actually realized that, like, I wanted nothing to do with any of it. Any of the, like, big drama that was going on in, you know, the comic book sector of the internet or anything like that. Like, I remember, and this was earlier in the year, people were trying to get me in the middle of the feud between EVS and Dick Masterson and those guys, and Eric July. And I'm like, I'm not I'm not a part of this, like, at all. I'm not. Don't even start. You know, I'm not even going to give my opinion on what's going on. You know, I'm just staying away from all of it because I want nothing to do with it, because it has nothing to do with me. You know, I had to tell people several fucking times early on. It's like, look, I'm not fucking I'm not gonna get in the middle of this, like, and my presence within it is not going to improve the situation. There's nothing I can do about it, you know? Like, I will tell anybody freely that when it comes to like fucking around and finding out, anytime I have ever told somebody, hey, stop fucking around, they don't listen to me. They just don't. And then they make a mistake and then they're like, oh, well, you were right. It's like, well, of course I fucking was. Because I know not to fuck around. You know? Boggles the mind. Some people just, they fuck around and then they find out and they're like, the guy who told me not to find out was right. Jesus fuck. Hey Therion, and let's see here. Hey there, Zoc. When's that Stardust memory video? Wednesday at 5 o'clock Central Time. I think. 5:30, somewhere around there. You surprised at so much how you accomplish when you ignore the BS and drama. I feel like I would have gotten a lot more done if I hadn't had like some health issues. One thing I haven't I haven't talked about. I'll get to that in a second. Eric Stonewall to ignore EVS and video, considering those two are self-destructing. Yeah. You know, the funny thing about it for me, I'll only say this, is like, when it comes to EVS, I owe him a lot. I really do. He's a guy who helped get me in front of a lot of comic buyers to help me build a reader base. And I'm always going to be grateful to him for that. But I'll just say, I personally don't understand the consistent going after Eric July. It doesn't make any sense to me. And yeah, it's like for Eric, it's just better to focus on business, you know, and hopefully EVS will find something else to, you know, throw his energy at. That's my hope anyway. Because like, I like Ethan just on a person to person basis. I've known him for, God, 7 years now? Yeah. Not 7 years. Yeah. 2017. So about 7 years. And you know, Ethan supported my work very early on. So I owe him the benefit of the doubt, and I owe him, you know, the courtesy of not like trashing him. You know, I would hope to see him focus on something else, personally. And I think that doing that would be better for him creatively and such. But that's just my 2 cents. You know, again, it's nothing against the guy. You know, it's, at the end of the day, it's his channel and it's his time, and how he chooses to spend it is, you know, is his and his alone. But yeah. Tell everyone the unacceptable amount of double Zeta that can be skipped. The amount of double Zeta that can be skipped is currently in the palm of my hand. But yeah, that's been on my that's just been something that was interesting. But yeah, it's been so weird to think about it. Cause like one morning for some reason I thought about that one simp who showed up on like that Twitch chat, and I didn't realize that had been 2 years ago. I was like, what? Really? I'm like, first, it's been 2 years since I actually played the original version of Resident Evil 4, so that's interesting. Second, I was like, what? You know, what the fuck was this guy's problem again? Oh, it was that. And it made me like look back at the past. I'm like, wow, it's been that long since the white womaning and since I put that to bed, you know? And it's been, like the whole year has just been, I think that the content I've put out has been pretty freaking good. You know, I'm pretty proud of a lot of what Shirt Dude and I have done this year. Obviously the 1 Year War stuff did really well. But other stuff like might not have got as many views, but I'm just happy with how it came out. Like the Guyver video I did, I thought was really good. The Devilman video was really good. I think the Haman Sama video was pretty funny. I had a lot of fun doing that one too. There's only like one video I think that I did that I wasn't happy with, and it was the one I did on X-Men 97. Like that was the one that I didn't really like very much. Other than that, it's been a very good year of video making. So, Gundam what if question: what if the Titans ended up destroying half of the Neo Zeon forces and killed Char in the process? You would have likely seen Shirako at some point take control of the Earth Federation forces. That is likely what would have happened. Which is a nightmare scenario. Like, that's... Because the thing is like... Man, Bask Ohm and Jamitov Hyman are bad, but Shirako's worse. Ugh, God. That dude's a fucking creep. Like, he's one of the Gundam... Well, he's a Gundam character that legit, like, creeps me out. Like, him and, God, what is his name? The fucking guy who talks like Jonathan McIntosh. Oh, gosh. Chronicle Asher. Him and Chronicle Asher creep me out. Because, like, they are like, they act like people that you would think that you would see them on a registry. Because they were sitting outside of a high school looking at 16-year-old girls. You know? Thoughts on doing any videos about Armored Core? Maybe. I can't really say what the future holds with that. I have to admit, I don't have a long history with Armored Core. So it would all be new to me. Like, I played Armored Core 6 and I loved it. It was a great game. Wasn't my favorite game last year, but it was very good. It's a really good example of storytelling through audio alone. I really, really dug that. And look, the fact of the matter is that FromSoft was probably working on a budget. You know, they're like, what if we can pour all of our budget into level design and tweaking the gameplay so that's spot on. Looks like I'm raising, I was looking at the wrong hand. But if we can put most of our money in that, and then just hire some good voice actors to just do basically an audio drama for the story. And it worked! It worked! It worked very well. Like, I can't hate on it, you know? And then again, like, not every game has to be, like, uber cinematic fucking, you know, storytelling. It's nice when it is, if it's done well. But the funny thing about creativity is that some people work really well with a sandbox. Some people work really well with being given a very specific set of tools. You know? And sometimes, if you tell somebody, all you have to work with the story is robots that do not emote and people's voices. Now tell me a good story. If you get the right guy or guys and gals, don't want to be exclusionary, but if you get the right people in the right place, give them a set of tools, and they'll make the fucking Mona Lisa somehow. It's like, wait a minute, how did this happen? I gave you guys a hammer, an ice pick, and a chicken sandwich, and you painted the Mona Lisa? How does that even work? Some people could probably do it. So some people with video game development are just fucking MacGyvers, you know. Probably a really boomer reference. Did you forget visual novels and point-and-click adventures exist? No, but I'm just saying that in AAA gaming, you don't normally see that, you know. Because I consider FromSoft to be a AAA developer at this point. I think that's safe to say. They're pulling in big money. They are spending pretty big money too. Xavier puts it really well in chat. You don't know who Rusty is. You never see him. When he calls you buddy, it makes your day. Yeah. And you legitimately want to continue to be his buddy because he's there with you in certain fights where it really counts, and he has your back when, like, right when you need him. And it's like, I like this guy. He's reliable. You know, he's competent. You can tell a lot just through his demeanor and the way that he's helping you when you need help. You know, it's one of those things where I've talked about it before. You maximize your minutes. You know, you have 5 minutes to make an impression. You got to kind of treat it like a job interview. You know, it's like job interviews. You go in there, you've got 5 minutes to convince somebody that you're the guy to hire for the job, right? You make the most of the time you're given, you know? One thing I had to do when I was doing stage acting, when I was a kid, because I was as close as you get to being a theater kid in a small town, of a town of like 1,200 people. Because I did stage acting up till like my freshman year of high school. One thing I learned was, like, if I want to be the character that people are talking about when they're leaving the theater, I need to make sure that I'm taking the time to do this right. So what I would do, because like I was always typecast as cops. Something about me, I guess, just screams police officer. I don't know. But, and granted, my favorite jobs that I've had since being a working adult have been security. So, but, you're a theater kid without the gay, basically. Though I didn't date in high school, so, well, actually, that's not completely true. I dated a little bit as a freshman, but, people thought I was gay. But anyway. Not for lack of trying, by the way. I just got turned down a lot. But yeah, as, I got typecast as a police officer, you know? So, I always had to make the most of my time, and I just asked the director, or the teacher that was in charge, the director in charge of the play, is like, how do you want me to play this character? And they're like, bombastic, humorous, be over the top, do silly things. So, like, I would trip over my own feet. I would be like, because my voice projects really easily. I would project my voice and, you know, kind of be over the top, angry cop, you know, and you know, just kind of be. I was kind of Mr. Magooing it up a little bit, but it worked because the next thing that would happen is I would go to, like, the barber shop in town. Not really a barber shop, but the hairdresser. There was only one place to get your hair cut in the small town that I lived in high school, and it's a friend of my mom's. So I would go there, and all the ladies would be like telling me how funny I was and all this stuff. Like, oh, you were hilarious. Like, how did you, you know, how is it really that easy to trip over your own feet? I'm like, no, you got to think about it, and that's the fun part. But and then one of them asked, was the goatee real? Because I had a goatee drawn on me, and I said no, because I hadn't, like, hit that point of aging where, like, I was able to grow facial hair, which now it's like easy. Like, today I had to trim today, and I just trimmed like a week ago. But And I'm already growing my mustache back. You needed a hairdresser? Dude, despite the thinness that is up here now, my hair used to be really fucking thick. Like, I kid you not. Like, it was... Who's the guy... Oh, Xavier, what is that 80s... The 80s show about the guys who are like motorcycle cops in California? And then what was the star of that show who had the really thick hair? I had hair like his. It was just like stupid thick. So yeah, I had to, like, that was my only option in town. And she was always like, I am always shocked at Chips. Yes. I looked like, God, what is his name? I forget the name. Or Eric Estrada. Yeah, I had hair as thick as Eric Estrada's. It still can grow that thick too, just not up here. It grows right here and on the back of my head. But yeah, I had like hair like that when I was younger. It was just very, very thick. And then when I was in college, well, late high school, college, I had like hair that was like spiked up to here. I was trying to grow it like Wayne Static from Static X, you know. So my hair was thick, and then I just got older, you know. I am unfortunately cursed. My biological father has hair that is exactly like mine, where he has these thin lines that are in a Y shape on the top of his head. So where you get basically three thick splotches. Here, here, and here. And then just these thin parts in the middle. So I'm hoping this year I can make a little bit extra money and subscribe to Keeps. So that way I can fill in those portions and kind of get back to the way that it used to be. Because I like having a little bit of hair, you know? Radio End Times, we're not going to get that spicy. I'm not going to answer that. I'm sorry. Don't need to be that spicy. I don't really like talking that much about modern politics. But yeah, I had like Eric Estrada like thick fucking hair back in the day. Never let it grow that long though. Like I could never really like tolerate it to get super long, except if it was up like right here. The sides and back of my head, it would just drive me crazy. I remember, God, I had, hey there, Clay, what's going on, dude? I have a little cousin named Clay, oddly enough. Usually whenever I see somebody who has a first name that's like similar to one of my relatives, I'm actually wondering if they're watching my streams, and I'm like, uh-oh, I'm caught. I know my nephew will watch them on occasion. He really liked the Micah and the Hat Man podcast. Dad and uncle have long hair, but my dad got gray hair in his 30s. Yeah. The funny thing is, I'm starting to go gray. You can really see it in my beard. I'm kind of okay with it. You know, I don't mind it so much. My sister calls it my paprika and salt beard, because it's not black, so it's not pepper. But yeah, I don't mind longer hair, because one thing I also did was I would, you know, shave the sides of my head, grow this out, and then comb it backwards. I did that for a while and liked it. So, it's either that for me or I like having bangs right here, you know. Did I watch Secret Level and my thoughts on the Warhammer episode? I watched the Dungeons and Dragons episode and I watched the Warhammer episode. You know, funnily enough, like a lot of people have been were kind of mid on the Dungeons and Dragons one. I kind of dug it. But then again, though I'm getting into Warhammer, I was a Dungeons and Dragons guy for a long ass time. Like, I was always envious over like my friends that actually found time to play it a lot when I was in college, because I could never find time to sit down and do it. Granted, you know, that's a whole nother discussion. But I miss being able to play that on the regular, man. It was so much fun. And I have one of my two best friends, Devin. Some of you have seen him on. I've had him on streams in the past. He is an incredible dungeon master. Probably the best one I've ever played with, because he can just think of things on the fly, you know. So, but yeah, I liked the D&D one. I thought it was really interesting. I loved the little twist at the end of it. And just being somebody who knows a decent amount of Dungeons and Dragons lore, I was like, oh, that's really neat how they did that. And then the golly, the 40K episode is peak. It's really good. I'm doing a whole video about like Warhammer 40K animation, like reviewing all of it within 2 videos, and that's part of it. So I'm not gonna like go really in detail about it, but I loved it. You could tell the dude who worked on Astartes worked on it, you know. Thoughts on Warhammer Fantasy? I don't like it as much. You know? It's kind of a weird thing because, like, when you look at the history of Warhammer Fantasy, it's one of those where, like, they kind of did... Fantasy stories have always had a level of grimness to them. There was a level of grimness all the way back in Tolkien's works. You know? There's a reason that so many death metal and black metal bands or mostly black metal bands, take their name from, like, places in Lord of the Rings. Which I find ironic, because so many of them rail about Christianity, and yet they get their names from a Christian author. It's like, okay, Val. But yeah. But, you know, Warhammer Fantasy was like the grimmer, you know, fantasy series. And then, as time went on, Dungeons and Dragons got a bit grimmer. So it's one of those weird things where it's like, both can give you dark fantasy, but one thing that I've noticed with Warhammer Fantasy over the last probably like 7 or 8 years is it's more willing to adopt the silly. You know? Which, on the flippity flop, when you think about it, silliness kind of takes away from grimdark, you know? So, I thought C.S. Lewis converted him only after he wrote the books. Other way around. Lewis, I think, was converted by Tolkien, or at least had a level of influence on him. Because Tolkien, or Lewis was an atheist for a very good chunk of his life. And, you know, just as time went on, he came around to Christianity. The book Mere Christianity goes over a lot of it. And sort of like how he looked at atheism and how he looked at Christianity and why he chose the beliefs that he did. Wonderful book. Tasty. But, yeah, I'm a big C.S. Lewis reader, I have to tell you. By the by, speaking of reading, I saw that Saga of the Swamp Thing is on sale, like the omnibus, for like $60. It's really tempting. It's really tempting. Oh, when I saw that, I was like, motherfucker. Because if I move my terror mask, I have shelf space for it. So, because Alan Moore's Swamp Thing is something special. It really is. I absolutely love it. One of the best horror comic books ever written. So, 40K got an anime. What would the story be like? More than likely what's going to happen, because we're getting the live action, one. And if you guys want my thoughts on that, I would go listen. For those of you who don't know, I do have a podcast that I do with other people who work with me with my publishing company at Grindstone Arts. It's called On the Grind. And we actually talked about Cavill getting his own, like, a 40K live action series and, like, what they're going to do with it and our speculations. So watch that, because it's basically like an hour and a half of just speculating on it. And how they could do it. What's the Rambo Imperial Guard named again? The Catachan Commandos, if I remember right. And the most notable one is Sly Marbo. Which Marbo is just a pastiche of Rambo. And yeah, it's... Man, people who love the Guard really love the Guard. But yeah, the Catachan Commandos are pretty dope. I won't lie. If I ever put together a guardsman army in Tabletop Simulator, I will probably put Sly Marbo on there as one of the leaders. You want a Deathcore of Krieg slice of life anime? It would be amazing as a parody, and it would be really cool to have an Astartes style film of the Kriegers. That would be dope too, because they don't talk much, Oddly enough, the audio that I played at the start of this, not the music, but that, that Tau talking shit, that's from an episode of, I want to say, an animated series on the Warhammer Plus service that is centers around the Tau, and they fight the Kriegers, and one of them gets killed by a shovel, which to me is fucking hilarious. Because they're talking literally all this shit. They turn around, there's a Krieger there with a fucking trench shovel and just murders them. But a parody would be kind of interesting because, like with the Krieg, there's there's one image that I've seen that's like a Krieger who is tries to get the phone number of a Sister of Battle who is like a really tall kind of muscle mommy type, and she actually gives him her number. So you're a fan of the Carcharodons as well. I am, dude. Listening to Outer Dark. Outer Dark was good, man. I liked Red Tithe a little bit more, but Outer Dark was a good list. It was a good audiobook. Funnily enough, the dude who does the Carcharodons voice those audiobooks is the dude, he plays the Heavy in Space Marine 2's PvE mode. Straben. That's him. Similar to Hitalia with darker humor. That could be fun. Sisters of Battle need more love too. Yes, dude. I fucking love the Sisters of Battle. They are... The ecclesiarchy in general is kind of fucking absurd, but in a fun way. But I would absolutely love to see more of them. Because I kind of feel like... I really liked Pariah Nexus. Pariah Nexus in that first episode of the Tithes are really good. But admittedly, that Sister of Battle, like, I don't think it's the best depiction of the sisters, in my opinion. But then again, she was going through some shit. And she does come around. She goes through an arc. Thank God for the salamanders, right? So. Who do I prefer more, the Cadians or Stormtroopers in 40K? Is there... I don't know if there's like if they're called Stormtroopers in 40K. I think you're thinking of the Death Corps of Krieg. In which case, when it comes to aesthetics, in regards to the Guard, I like the Kriegers a little bit more. When it comes to who would I want to field as an army, I'd put a lot of Cadians out there. Because Cadians don't give a fuck. Cadians are goddamn scary. My favorite Gundam series? Wing. Wing is still my favorite. But yeah, the Kriegers are... I love their aesthetic. I really do. I love that World War I aesthetic. And then their... Because it feels like any time that they charge, especially on fucking horseback, that you ought to be hearing Last Dying Breath by Sabaton playing in the background, right? Like, it just fits. So yeah, the Kriegers have the better aesthetic. But, man, the Cadians are fucking scary. In regards to, like, their absolute fucking fearlessness. Not to mention, you actually see... you actually see in Space Marine 2 the mental fortitude of a lot of Cadians as well. Because, like, veteran Cadian guards, there's all this Zinchian stuff going on, and they don't give a fuck. They're right next to the fucking Ultramarines. Just plugging away at dudes with their las guns, man. And that I think is why a lot of people like the Guard. Is because they are... Like, it's easy to like Space Marines. I mean, let's look at this Carcharodon background I got here, right? Like, where is my... There we go. Like, look at these motherfuckers. What is not to love? The armor looks dope. The weapons look dope. They're fucking huge. Like, what is not to love about them? You know, Space Marines are easy to like. But they're also 8-foot-tall killing machines that have been engineered to be killing machines. The Guard are just dudes. And the Cadians especially are not only they're just human, they learned how to fight chaos. Because some planets that have problems with chaos, the Inquisition will come in and just nuke the planet. Just exterminatus. Done. I know that was a weak-ass snap, but, you know, just exterminatus, done. We can't let it spread. Like, there's a whole... I think it's like the Months of Shame is what it's called. When the Space Wolves and the Inquisition went to war with each other, basically. Like, but over basically how the Inquisition handles chaos. There's a cutscene in Battlefleet Gothic 2 that is really good about pruning chaos, and it really gives the idea of how the Inquisition looks at it, because they see it as the more merciful option. Because if we let this spread, this planet is going to literally descend into hell. You know, because if I exterminatus this planet, what's going to happen is some people out there in the boonies are going to go, "What's that flat?" And then they're dead. You know, they're not going to have to live through possibly being like bisected by a cornate or, you know, by some Slaneshi demon, you know. But the Cadians do not have that option whatsoever. The Cadians, you can't exterminatus Cadia, because in a sense Cadia is a big fucking target because it's right in front of the Eye of Terror. It's also your last line. It was, for the longest time, the last line of defense at the Eye of Terror. For those who don't know Warhammer, the Eye of Terror was, now it's huge. The Eye of Terror was basically a giant hole in the warp, or that crossed the warp into real space. Warp is kind of like hell, but more complicated, which is saying something. And, so this planet is like right outside of it. Like, here's Cadia, here's the Eye of Terror. That's also why Cadians have purple eyes, is because of consistent warp exposure. But anyway, the Cadians were just dudes. So they had to learn how to fight chaos on a consistent basis. And their cities were built to make it easy to defend against them. So you could throw armies at them, and they would still be able to fend it off. What finally got them is Abaddon the Despoiler, the head of the Black Legion, colony dropping it. That's what got them. You know? Which is wild to think about. They stole a Xeon tactic to win the war, to break Cadia, and Cadia broke before the Guard did. Tasty. So yeah, that's why a lot of people like the Guard, is there's so many instances of them just not giving a fuck. It's like, look, I got a job to do, so I'm gonna get it done. Oddly enough, like, because that's admittedly a lot of soldiers that you see in fiction are like that, and a lot of ones I have met in real life are like that, because I was raised by a guy like that. My dad was a soldier, My dad was Army. So, I was raised, not only was my dad Army, he was an assistant drill sergeant for a time. But, my dad was trained during, like, the Vietnam era. So, yeah, like, you kind of, like, realize, like, what the mentality is. Of, like, there's a problem? Okay, we're gonna fix it. Not gonna worry about all the other shit, we're just gonna fix it. That's it. That's all we gotta do. Just fix it. Oh, it's a giant fucking demon? Find me the biggest fucking gun that gives me the biggest boom, and we'll handle it. We will kill the fucking thing. Because that's the problem, and we're going to solve it. Like, I haven't read the Uriel Ventress books yet. I own them, but I haven't like read them yet. Apparently, during the Demonculaba incident, which is fucking horrifying, the Demonculaba is like something out of Berserk. Some of the people that Uriel Ventress apparently brought with him were just guardsmen, and they handled the situation better than the fucking Astartes that he had with him, which is saying something. So, but like, just that attitude, so many people really love about guardsmen, and it's easy to see why, Not to mention, guardsmen get access to a lot of cool vehicles. They really do. So, and oddly enough, like, this whole thing about Gilliman allowing for, like, the Imperium to finally start upgrading their tech, it's a scary thought. Because the guardsmen are going to get even better. So yeah, I understand why people love the guardsmen. It's very easy to love them, especially the Cadians. Oddly enough, In Dark Tide, my character that I play as is a former Cadian guardsman. Like half the people who play Dark Tide. I didn't want to play the Psyker because I didn't want to play a Psycho. So yeah. Goodness gracious. Love doing a little bit of Zatsu. I don't know why. Something about yapping just kind of calms the nerves. And I am going to say this again. Like, I very much appreciate you guys coming here and hanging out with me. Because there's so many people are streaming right now, especially like VTubers and shit you could be watching, and you chose to watch me instead, and I appreciate that. Steel Legion of Armageddon are now in lore to fight orcs, can tear people in half, and Demons and Chaos Marines held the line for a long time, killed more orcs than Space Marines. Yeah, that's true. The Armageddon, like, it's a tough fucking place to be a guardsman. Hey, Brain. Absolutely tough place to be a guardsman, man. Let me do a thing. Very few YouTubers are as interesting as you. I disagree. I don't find myself that interesting. I'm glad you guys do, though. Did I go over all the stuff in Tabletop Simulator with you guys? I don't remember if I did. I've shown Brain. I'm going to launch this real quick. One VTuber I liked was Too Drunk to place Alice Madness Returns, so I'm off the VTuber train. To be honest, I only have a few that I really watch. And it's really just because I like them more as streamers than anything. They have full-blown Battletech and TTS. That they do. But for me, the one thing I'm going to be trying to learn is actually 40k. Hey, Rocket. Because this is just fucking cool. Because they've got a bit of everything. The one thing that's a little tedious about it, because I'll show you guys what I got to do, is let's do these guys. The tough part is putting the armory together. Need these guys. Loading. Maybe if I reunite with Joe, I can play this with him. Joe does play 40k tabletop. He tried to get me into it back in the day. he's like, the only problem is it's too expensive. And I'm like, yeah, if it's too expensive, I'm not going to probably get into it in the moment. Okay, so I need Adrax and Vulcan. Vulcan Histan. So basically what you have to do, drag him over, click on them. So I clicked on Adrax, who's right here. Click on that. And it associates the position with the unit. Now I need a chaplain and a librarian, which are both right here. Resident streamers, I only fuck with you, Tall, and Shota. Couple small-time bros, Kirsch and Pippa. I appreciate that, dude. Is Kirsch still looking for a manager? I've been thought about possibly asking her, like pitching her on the idea of me doing it, because I've got experience managing businesses. Need aggressors. I love these. Gravis armor is pretty fucking dope looking. I know not everybody likes the Primaris, and you know they have their reasons lore wise, but I like their design. Back in Blistered Thumbs days, or recently tried to get back in the Blistered Thumbs days. I haven't actually had a conversation with Joe in a very long time. Oh, I had 2 aggressor squads. Now I need Blade Guard vets. Which are right here. That's the sergeant. And I like this one a little bit more. Whoop. Kirsch already has one. Okay, so I knew she was looking out for one, so. Because I am looking for more work at the moment. Eradicators. The big thing with the salamanders is they get stupid bonuses to any sort of fire-based weaponry. So, meltas, well, flamethrowers, but yeah, if she is still looking for a manager, I might try to contact her about it. Okay, so Eradicator Sergeant, Multi-Melta Eradicator, Normal Eradicator. All of which having Melta rifles. Now we need Infernus squads. This is what we mean by salamanders love flamethrowers. I've got 2 sets of Infernus Marines. Just double checking that. Now, it wouldn't be the Salamanders without First Company Terminators, right? So, specifically, what do they kit it out with? Oh, it's Terminator Assault. So, right here. These boys. I fucking love Terminator armor. I'm glad they haven't gotten rid of it. And I don't really think you can, in my opinion, because it's like a Primaris Marine can still wear Terminator armor, and it has its own benefits in comparison to Gravis armor. So, Thunderhammer and Storm Shield. There's the Sergeant. Now I need standard Terminators. Specifically, one with Cyclone missile launchers, and then normal ones with Storm Bolters. So, Launcher and Storm Bolter, Power Fist and Storm Bolter. You can kind of tell that this Terminator Sergeant was just kind of copy-pasted from another Legion. However, there is a standard Terminator Sergeant over here, so we'll snag him. Yoink. So standard Power Fist Terminators with Cyclone launchers, and then a Sergeant. Now I need a Brutalis Dreadnought and a Redemptor. Both of which have flamethrowers. There's a Redemptor. There's a Brutalis. I love these Dreadnoughts, dude. So fucking cool looking. So there's the Brutalis, there's the Redemptor. One thing I really love about Redemptors and Brutalis is I love their hidden weaponry and shit. There's the flamethrowers that are hidden on the undersides of their arms. Then I need 2 repulsors. Oops. Come here, you. So this one has a standard cannon. I need Gatling Cannon, Hunter Slayer Missile, Repulsor Defensive Array. That's this one. And then this other one, I think, is the one with the... Yeah, the twin las cannons. Alright, so I got them. Let's build the army and have a look at them. And there we go. A 2,000 point Salamander army. Admittedly, the one thing that they don't have a lot of is range, but that's what the repulsors are for. You send these in, loaded with Marines, with the dreadnoughts in front of them. Then you unload the Marines and let them have fun with their flamethrowers. Lincoln Park taking in a chick was a bad move. Should have gone that Chester guy from Grandson. I don't know any of that because I don't listen to Lincoln Park. All I know is that like the chick was like defending a rapist dude at one point apparently. Other than that, I don't listen to them. I got off the Lincoln Park train with Meteora. Think about that for a second. How long ago that was. But yeah, there they are. Just the one thing I find funny, though, about this is this. They actually modeled an Imperator Titan. Could you imagine showing up to a tabletop session and that's all you field? This is a 3,000 point battle. Like, what do you feel? Dude puts down a ton of models. The other guy just brings up a big ass Imperator Titan and just sets it down. Be like, I fire her in that general direction and I win. Because that's basically what these things are. Oh, man. I love it. I absolutely fucking love it. Titans are fucking scary. They've got Imperial Knights, too. So that's pretty cool. I could only imagine, though, give me some D6s. This is what I imagine, a Titan's role is like. Is like, yeah, this is my, plasma cannon shot. I hit on ones. You know? Toss those into the void. Toss those into the void too, because I don't need them. I said into the void. I said into the void. There. Actually, wait, I can just do this. There we go. So, yeah. It's about the long and short of it. God, I can't wait to learn how to play this, man. I just need to sit down and watch videos. Because there's also maps, like, 17 maps by Bobo the Talking Clown. Oh, that's cool. Let's look at this. A ton of wreckage. There's hills that you have to consider. That's awesome. I need that logo. just fucking Walmart. I can just imagine that advertisement. Walmart. Save teeth. Crump better. Oh, man. Oh, he's so easy to kill, Spice Marine. That's so good. So good. I love it. All right. Well, I think I've Zatsu'd long enough. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys the lolly, so that you guys can enjoy some Final Fantasy. And I will be back tomorrow for some actual video games. Probably more Legacy of Kain, now that I'm thinking about it. I'll probably have to drag Brain in here to guide me through it. Ugh, excuse me. So, let me set this up real quick. So, I will hopefully see you guys over there. Say hi to Lolly for me, if you could. And I will see you guys tomorrow, probably around 5 o'clock-ish in the afternoon, for some more Legacy of Kain. So, have yourselves a good one. I'll see you next time.